you. Welcome everyone to this month's Power Board meeting. We have everybody's here. Andy's online, and the four of us are here, and Councilman's here, and Rachel are here. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We can start. Did everyone get a copy of the agenda? Look through it. Are there any questions, comments, concerns?
Nope.
And I'm just looking for a motion then.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
So Dick second, Mark did a first. Andy, do you want to start us out on a vote?
Yeah, absolutely. Palmer, aye.
Todd?
Spriggs, aye.
Dick?
Saunders, aye.
Hauser, aye.
Dinsmore, aye. Thank you. Okay, next, item number 2 is the approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look through those? Any questions, comments, concerns?
I think I just approved the minutes.
Did I say minutes?
I said minutes. So do we need to go back and adjust that at all? So I was supposed to approve the agenda. Dick seconded it.
Went right along. I thought you said agenda.
Right.
Pretty good.
Sneaky.
Okay, so that was the agenda. Now we're on the minutes.
I've looked over the minutes from 7-2 and I'd like to approve them.
Okay.
I'll second.
So Todd did the second. Dick did the first. Andy, would you start us again?
Yep. Palmer, aye.
Mark?
Hauser, aye.
Todd?
Spriggs, aye.
And Dick?
Saunders, aye.
Dinsmore, aye. Thank you, everyone. All right, item number 3 is regular business, operations report, generation update. Rick, turn the time to you.
Okay, like I said, appreciate everybody coming, and should be pretty painless. We really don't have any action items we need tonight. So we'll start off with, if I can get this screen to share. Okay. Yeah, so in case anybody hasn't noticed, it's been really hot the last couple months and into August. And the reason I kind of bring this up or show you is utilities and Rachel, and maybe some of you have been getting a lot of calls of, why is my bill high? I couldn't have used that much. I know personally at my house, this year over last year, we used 50% more. And I think that's not horribly uncommon for a lot of people I've talked to. So this is the reason why. In June, so this is June, and this was from AccuWeather's data, just right off their website. The red line is the normal high temperature, and the orange bar is what the temperature was for that day this last year. So you can see all but 2 days were above normal. And then the one that I think actually drives usage more than people probably realize is the minimum temperature, the low temperature at night. You can see there were a lot of days we were dramatically higher than normal. I know that, like this morning, my house, I think it was 84 degrees, 85 degrees, which isn't much of a low. So that was June. July, pretty much the same thing, other than basically every day was either at or above normal on the high temp, and there were 3 or 4 days at the end that the lows actually got. I think those were the couple mornings I was able to open my door for 10 minutes while I had breakfast before it got back above my setting. And then I just did this little chart that I'm not sure if it helps or hinders a whole lot. On the high temperature, you've got blue 2024, red 2023, and this yellow is the difference. So you can see, some days we were 25 degrees higher than that same day a year earlier. And then kind of the same thing on the low, which again is almost every day is a warmer low than last year. And so that really drives things. I know like over the 4th of July weekend, I had 2 families with grandkids and they never shut the door. At least it didn't seem like they did. I love them, but they don't get that really good. And between that and cooking, and I don't think our air conditioner ever shut off for those 4 or 5 days. So anyway, so if you get comments or questions, or that's the basic reason is we've had an unusually warm June and July, and so far August is trending the same way, in case as you come in, you kind of felt that a little bit. So growth continues to be really strong, especially we've got a lot of commercial coming in, from motels to new clubhouses to, you can see the Hyundai dealerships going. There's all kinds of things going on in the city. Lead times on transformers isn't getting any better, particularly 3-phase transformers. Now they're telling us about 2 years out. I had hoped at some point it would start to turn and get a little more normal, but so far that hasn't happened. In fact, it's gone the other way a little bit. Let's see, I got a few notes here. The June, at least according to the news that I watched, said it was the 2nd hottest June on record, only beat by 2021, which if you go back to the data, we'll see when we bring up the load charts, they're fairly similar. July peak, we set a new all-time peak on July 10th of just barely under 55 megawatts, basically 54.9 megawatts, which is a 4.5% increase over July, the previous peak in July. July 11th, and we'll show a little more graph in a minute on the UAMPS peak. They peaked on July 11th. Our peak was about just under 200 kilowatts less than we were on the 10th, basically the same load. Our August peak, we're only, what is this, the 6th? We've basically set, I think, 4 new peak records for August in those 6 days. And today, I suspect we might hit that again as we speak almost. Usually we peak about 6 o'clock, 5 to 6 o'clock hour. So in fact, the August peak is up almost 9% over the previous August peak. And our June kilowatt hours purchased or generated for the city was up 44% over the previous. And that goes back to what we're seeing here. There's a lot more usage going on at night than what there was previously. So the peak level is about the same because we hit about the same high temperature, but the energy, because we're running more in the night and stuff, saw a dramatic increase. So again, I suspect each of you, if you look compared your kilowatt hours this year, last year, you'll see a pretty dramatic difference. So, and it's not some big conspiracy that we're out changing meters or doing, don't look at Facebook. The generators are running really well. Looked at our production in July, we were 25% more kilowatt hours this July over last July, primarily due to, one, we bought gas, and then the gas prices have stayed pretty low. So Jake and Tyler have been running typically about 10 hours a day, 10 to 11. So they've been putting in some pretty long days. As far as projects go, probably One of the bigger ones that Councilman Coates has been helping us with is the Grapevine. I don't know if any of you have snuck up there yet or not. It's not officially open, but just a few pictures here. Will be the entrance to the new substation site. You know, these are real exciting pictures, but there's a lot of nice landscaping going in around the site. And it's not just a substation site, it's a trailhead. There's a lot of parking. There's down off here to the right will be set up for equestrian parking, and there won't be paving in there for the horses. And I suspect somewhat about the end of the month. Yeah, end of the month. Roughly, is when it'll be officially open. And so this is basically the entrance here that lines up with Buena Vista. And then this is a trail that goes all the way down to Main Street now. And this lower parking lot is the equestrian. And then I don't know that I have a picture of the upper. This is the upper part by the restrooms, looking down towards the substation site. And of course, right now, we got a flat pad with block wall around it, so. So anyway.
So here, when we put the substation in, that's when the complaints that were in view.
Oh yeah, I can guarantee you that, so. And we do plan on getting some signs already put up now that'll say Washington City Grapevine Substation to try to help with that a little bit, that at least people going in and out will go, oh, wonder, but yeah, we'll just be ready for that. So one of the other projects we've done is this is the new off-ramp on the southbound lanes there by our Main Street sub. Because of the grading of that off-ramp, this clearance down here with that side slope was a little compromised. So we put in a taller fence, and so this fence here was a temporary one they put up while they redid it. Again, that's more of the finished product, and then the crews finished doing the grounding on the fence today. And then they're also gonna clean up the triangle piece to the east of there that's kind of been a weed patch and tumbleweed, so they've pulled all those out, and we're putting some gravel in there to hopefully make it look a little nicer, so. On the AMI front, we had a meeting with Aclara, was it last week? I think it was last week, where we went through and met with the Aclara people, Jessica and Donna and myself and Jake, and kind of came up with the meter configuration. So that's the next step, to get those on order. Next week, they're coming out to do the frequency survey for the radio, and then also look at our sites where we're gonna put the data collection units, which are typically gonna be in our substations. So some progress going on there, and then once they get all that information, then we can, they can apply to the FCC for the radio, get the data collection units program, get those sent to us. We can officially get the meters on order, get in line there. So we're starting to make some progress there. So that's been really good. We've energized several developments in the last week or two. The first phase of Salente, I think it's the third phase of Solus, the new bank across from Chipotle. A lot of things are getting to the point where they're coming online. So we did assist the contractor in Public Works on the 100 East new signal light that's gone up. The one mast ended up directly under our line, so we had to have our crews involved when they set that, covered up the line and assisted them in doing that. And you may have noticed the crews working up Main Street, just up here, and they redid all the grounding on the poles. We've had We had some grounds that the Staples pulled out, so they completely redid all the grounding on that line as a maintenance project, so. We replaced a few poles in the older part of town, some service poles, and then one up on the west well line. Were the main things. For solar, the application rate seems to be down a little bit. I don't want to jinx myself, but we had 5 applications, 2 of which were additions, or battery additions. So 2 of the 5 were already existing installations. Excuse me. We've been working with Lumen on the pole attachment policy. We had a meeting with them, a conference call, and haven't heard back. They wanted to eliminate having their installations engineered, and I told them that wasn't a negotiable item. And they were going to come back with some proposed language, and they haven't sent anything back yet. But TDS has one small project, and we're starting that pole attachment policy negotiations or discussions with them. Probably don't want to call it negotiations because for the most part, I don't want to change what this body and the council has already approved unless there was a compelling reason to do so. I've started showing you this graph pretty much each month. This is our average dollars per kilowatt hours. Goes clear back to 2017 to 24. As you can see here in June, we were just a little over 7 cents, which is up from the previous couple months, but is still a lot less than you have to go back, 4 years in June to have that level. And what that translates to, did anybody notice on your power bill that your PCA was actually a negative value this month? That's what I thought. Most people only complain when it's there.
No, we just looked at the overall increase.
But that was because of usage, not because of the PCA. In fact, our PCA, if you look, last year was just under 3 cents, and with this quarter-cent, we're on average 3 cents a kilowatt hour less this year than we were last year, which is pretty substantial. I think it works out like 18% on the highest tier. So again, that's due to favorable wholesale power market, and then we've got our solar resources online that are cheaper than we've had previous, and we just keep working to try to keep those down. So it's actually, it had gone negative back in 2020 for a couple months, but just barely. So that's actually something we'll keep an eye on with the consultant. If it were to trend that way, we might want to do something with the rates to actually lower them, which would eliminate the PCA being negative. So we'll keep an eye on that for the next few months and make a decision. Peak load levels, like I said, this dark purple is where we've been this year. You can see each month we were trending about the same as the previous peak, and then we've been above that for June, July, and August for sure. And then our average usage for a residential customer, again, that's total kilowatt hours sold divided by the number of customers, so just a rough average. It was up to about 1426, which was the highest since 2021, which was our last pretty hot year. Any questions on those graphs? Hopefully they're helpful to give you some visual where things are at on some things.
Well, it's interesting that the usage is up because the temperature's up and there's more consumers. Mm-hmm. But it's really strange that the wholesale price is down. Now, I understand natural gas being down. That might contribute to that.
that contributes, and the hydro's been better the last couple of years. And so there's a lot of hydro in the northwest, so they're not having to draw on some of those other resources. Today, in the morning up till probably about 3 o'clock, it was about 4.5 cents. And then there's about a period of about 6 hours that are about 19 cents right now. So again, the solar hours get pushed way down, and then once that goes away, the prices kind of boomerang a little bit. So
So as long as we stay out of drought, we're okay.
it will help a lot. It will help a lot, even though we don't get a lot of hydro. We got a little bit of the Colorado River power. Even though we don't have a lot of that, it overall affects the wholesale market to our favor if it's got a lot of hydro. So. Any other questions?
When you had your AMI meeting, you said that probably gonna be ordering meters next week or the next couple of weeks.
It'll be a little ways, but
So we're still projecting first quarter of
I
2025.
I'm still hoping by the end of the quarter, we'll start seeing some meters. I think they're gonna do, one approach they do is they'll send us like 200 meters, as basically guinea pig meters, to deploy them, make sure it's working through the billing system, and we're reading them, so we'll probably scatter them around the city, make
So
sure.
we're gonna be part of the guinea pig
You
program.
bet. Looks like a great group.
Don't forget Rachel.
She can right now. So that's their basic approach, and make sure all the programming's right, the communications are working, and then they'll go into the second phase they call mass deployment, where they'll ship a whole bunch. So that's the current hope. I've learned over the last few years to be skeptical on what anybody tells me on deliveries, and I kind of believe it when I see it, kind of thing, unfortunately. Either that or I'm just getting old. And
Well, hopefully it won't be like the Transformers.
yes, and I don't think it will be that. So that's kind of the general with the city direct stuff, and the other would be UAMP's report if you're ready for that, or don't have any other questions. Our July meetings were pretty minimal, so the report will be pretty short. We actually just did them online, and we only had, it was about 3 to 4 hours of meetings this month, and we just did them online, so. Which is nice, I didn't have to travel, so that was good. The next meetings will be in Heber at the annual member conference, so we're looking forward to, I know there's several the Power Board staff that are planning on attending. So we're looking forward to that. UAMP sent out a little PowerPoint that they show on July 11th. UAMP set a new peak, and this was kind of interesting. Again, this isn't Washington City. This is UAMPS as a group, of how during that peak hour where the resources came from. And one thing I thought was very interesting, the MIG is member internal generation. That's actually the single biggest resource UAMPS has, like our generators, St. George's, Santa Clara, Hurricans, Logan, Bountiful. There's quite a few that have generators, so that was interesting to see. So that's how the resource mix of the overall UAMPS group. And I think we've done good as a organization to this real-time purchase. That's kind of day of. We've got it down to 5%, which is pretty good. And you can see solar contributed this year. Last year we wouldn't have had that much solar available, so it actually was a pretty good contributor as well. It's just a different form of stacking the resources, same information, just actually how they schedule them in. And then this one is Washington specific. The green line is our load. And so the difference between the top bar and the green line is what we were purchasing real time for that period. With this bright pink is our 5-year purchase plus some other small purchases we made. The blue is our generation, red's Nebo, and green I believe is solar are the main ones there. And again, this helps show too what during these early hours from 8 o'clock till 2, 3 o'clock, you can see we're not running our generators, and we've also backed Nebo almost, well, most of these hours here, we backed it down to 0 because we end up being resource long during those periods. And this is the area where we've seen the pricing pretty low. And again, that's driven by the solar being strong. You can see it comes up about 8 o'clock and ends about 8 o'clock at night for July. Any questions on those graphs? Again, hopefully, I like visual stuff, so hopefully it helps you. Basically putting together these graphs or these types of graphs for the next 5 years by month, so we have an idea how much we need to purchase. UAMPS is going to be doing a similar exercise for each of their members, each member. So I'm real curious when we get that back and what we do. Hopefully between the two, they should be similar, and that would give us even more confidence to proceed with things. I think UAMPS is going to be focused on the new resources. That'll probably be like 2029, 2030 when they start coming on. But we're going to have a gap between our 5-year purchase ends in 27 to 30, basically, is one that Jake and I are probably more focused on, is to cover that. And it will probably be another purchase is pretty much what would be available in that time frame. On the Central St. George project, we received some really good news. The 7 utilities in the county have studied for years about operating the 138 kV system as a loop, which basically would close all the open points between UAMPS and Dixie and St. George and Dixie and Rocky Mountain. And so basically any one line, if it trip, you don't lose any load like we do now. And so it gives you some higher reliability and be able to serve more load. But one of the things that potentially could have caused is entities like UAMPS or St. George or Dixie to have to register under NERC and FERC as a transmission owner operator. So UAMPS worked with Dixie and Deseret to file for an exception. We verbally got word that they're going to allow that exception. And so we're just waiting on the final paperwork. So that'll make being able to do the agreements between 7 entities a little easier if we don't have to have that set of baggage with us. So that was really good news. The goal is to have the system looped by next summer. I hope that'll happen. I think there's physically it could be done, I think pretty easy. Contractually and agreement-wise, it's going to take some work you can imagine that many parties and that many lawyers. This can be a challenge, but we'll get through it. The Nebo plant's been running really well. That's the one in Payson. They did have a gearbox problem and it was down for one day in July. But other than that, it was on every day, 24/7. So Veo's picked up just a little bit. So they must be compressing more gas. That's usually the limiting factor, is the amount of gas Kern River is compressing. I already mentioned that UAMPS is working on individual member forecasts. They've added some staff, and that's one of the areas that they're gonna help the members on resource planning a little better and at least give a different perspective. So I'm looking forward to that. There's still several study projects going on. The Fremont Solar, the natural gas project, they're moving along. On the natural gas one, they're working on some of the next steps would be getting site control of the proposed sites. That's now one of the criteria when you file for a interconnect with Rocky Mountain. They want to see that this isn't just a pie in the sky kind of hope, that somebody's really serious about doing that. So they're working on that. Like I said, the meetings were pretty abbreviated this month, so there's not tons to report. The wind projects have been about between 25 and 30% capacity factor, which is pretty typical for them. So unfortunately, a lot of times when it's hot like this, things are pretty still and there's not a lot of wind. And it's usually when there's storms and stuff going on that the wind blows. So any other questions on UAMPS?
Nope.
If not, we're barely over a half hour.
Wow.
So unless there's something else you want to
Record,
ask questions or do.
going over their conference topics, looks like they have some interesting topics. No electric loads with cryptocurrency mining and cannabis growing. Anything in there that stands out to you that we need to pay particular attention to, or that you think might come out of that?
On that particular topic,
No, I mean in the whole thing.
no, I think it's just good for you to rub shoulders with other utilities, people with similar responsibilities. Again, they tried on their presentations, give kind of a cross-section of what's going on. So nothing specific other than I think it's just good to be there, ask questions. UAMP staff will be there, ask them questions if you have any. And I think some of you have been there several times, so you know quite a few people already from the other cities. And we'll probably have the most we've ever had from ours. I think we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll have 8. I think we'll have 8 of us there.
Oh, good.
So we're looking forward to that. And, next month, we'll probably have a line item on the agenda to have you guys report on what you thought of the UAMPS meeting. So, and you're welcome to stay Wednesday for the boring
No, that's your
board
job.
meetings, but I keep offering that. And nobody's ever taken me up on that one. But
We'll listen to your report on it.
Yeah, when you tell us that a 3-hour meeting is short, that scares us.
there's Todd, Mike, and Dick, Rachel and Chad, and myself from staff, Jeremy, and then Councilman Ike. And Rusty, that's right. That's right. That's right. She's so we might have 9 there.
Not going. That's tough.
That's kind of what affected us all the time with school. Now that we don't have any kids at home and in school.
It's great.
And it
Yeah.
didn't have anything to do with that whitewater rafting ride.
I had a great time.
I know you
My
did.
wife has a good time. She said that was better than the canoe trip that I did. That was like 2 days and she didn't like that. You could handle an hour or so. I'm like, whatever.
Well, next year we'll be in Tahoe, so.
Well, I'll probably have to go back.
This is a good one to skip.
Might just be me and I.
Hey, that's even better. Like I say, empty nesting's a good thing.
I agree.
All righty, thank you, Rick.
Thanks.
The last item is the adjournment.
I'll
Go
make
ahead
a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll go ahead and second it.
Okay, Dick did the first, Todd did the second. Andy, would you start us on a vote?
Yes, Palmer, I.
Mark,
Hauser, aye?
Todd,
Spriggs, aye.
Dick,
Saunders, aye.
Dinsmore, aye. Okay, thank you everyone for attending, and we will see you. Our next meeting will be September 3rd. Is that correct? Okay, yep, September 3rd. We'll see you then.
Yours is 25. Sure, that's a Tuesday.